Good evening and welcome to News Channel 8. I'm Jerome Aegean, and here's some of the stories we have for you tonight. It appears to be a suicide at Point Udall. A man is shot on St. Croix, and Sir Alan Stanford turns himself in. These stories and more are coming up next on News Channel 8. In our top story tonight, a man was shot in an apparent robbery attempt last night. The incident happened in the Harbor View housing community on St. Croix. News Channel 8's Wes Small has the story.
Now, the reason that we're in Harbor View right now for this report, we understand that we do have a man down around midnight last night. A male victim was apparently robbed, we believe, by two persons, and as they were searching through his pockets, apparently he fought back. He was subsequently shot in his face once, and also the left side of his abdomen here in Harbor View. Now, the police reports have it at building number 1, but then when I talked to some neighbors here in Harbor View, they told me the incident happened at building 4. Once again, we have a male victim who was shot at least twice, once in his face, once in his side of his abdomen. We understand that he is going to recover. He is in stable condition at Juan Louis Hospital. Details are still sketchy. The incident happened last night at midnight, we believe, either building number 1, that's what the police say, or building number 4, that's what the residents of Harbor View say. At Harbor View, I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
And in other news tonight, a male Caucasian's body was found yesterday in the Point Udall area of St. Croix. News Channel 8's Wes Small files the report.
Thanks a lot, Jerome. I'd like to give you a brief synopsis of the crime blotter. Now, it was yesterday afternoon that News Channel 8 received calls that a male Caucasian was found in Point Udall, that with his pickup truck and a rope around his neck. That incident happened around 1 o'clock, 1:30. As emergency responders got to the scene at Point Udall, they found a male Caucasian on the scene with a rope around his neck hanging from a tree. From all reports, preliminary reports anyway, it looks like an apparent suicide. Now, that victim's name has not yet been publicized, and that unfortunate situation marks 7 St. Croix people who have taken their lives in 2 months. 7 suicides. We certainly hope that trend will not continue.
Thank you, Wes. And Sir Alan Stanford has finally turned himself in to law officials. Stanford turned himself in to the hands of the FBI yesterday in Virginia. Stanford was to build his Caribbean empire right here on St. Croix, but now we know that will never happen. Stanford appeared earlier today in a federal court in Virginia. A St. Croix pedestrian is fighting for his life tonight as he was apparently run over in the Villa Lorraine area. The incident happened around 9:30 last night. He was apparently hit by a taxi bus. And also a police vehicle was run into last night in the Salt River area of St. Croix. At least 1 officer was injured. There was a press conference held earlier today. One of the topics of discussion, the results of the tragic accident that took the life of Terrence DaCosta. News Channel 8's Lee Carl in St. Thomas has the details.
We're at the Charlotte Cumberland Cancer Center, where today Rodney Carrar, the Chief of Police, along with Corporal Luther Thomas for the Traffic Investigation Bureau, outlined some of the information regarding the death of the Carnival Queen, Terrence DaCosta.
When it was brought to my attention that a confidentiality breach had occurred, possibly by a police officer or some other first responder, where a photo of Terrence DaCosta, the victim of a fatal car accident, was being distributed through the internet and via email to members of the general public, I immediately had the police department's internal affairs director, Curtis Griffin, launch an investigation as to the source of the breach. Yesterday, I was informed by Director Griffin that the investigation into this matter revealed it was not someone from the police department who released the photograph of Ms. DaCosta.
On Monday, June 9, 2009, the Traffic Investigation Bureau began its investigation into a one-car collision which was reported to police at about 2:15 a.m. This collision occurred westbound on Veterans Drive, adjacent to the Port Authority's Edward Wilmot Blyden Marine Terminal. Upon our arrival, we observed that the vehicle in question, a 2004 Toyota Corolla green in color, had been involved in this collision. Based on our investigation and findings, the vehicle was traveling westbound when it made contact with the curve on the left side of the road. The vehicle then became airborne, making contact with the wall and the rail, in addition to an adjacent light pole, before it came to final rest some 400 plus feet further west from the initial point of impact. Based on our findings, we believe speed to be a major contributor to this collision. Our investigation went on to reveal that just prior to the collision, Ms. DaCosta had been out with fellow graduates celebrating their graduation. We do know that she was heard saying that she was very tired. Ms. DaCosta, being the operator of the vehicle, is believed to have dozed off at the wheel, which resulted in her losing control of the vehicle, causing the collision which led to her passing. In the vehicle with Ms. DaCosta was a young male, a fellow graduate, who sustained minor physical injuries due to the collision.
One other point I'd like to get across here, and this is for everyone who is going to be reviewing this and listening. The investigation also revealed that Ms. DaCosta was not wearing a seatbelt. It is our finding or belief that she might have been here with us today if she was utilizing a seatbelt. Again, the seatbelt in every vehicle is there for a reason. Please pass it on. Make sure you yourself utilize that seatbelt, and your family in your vehicle and or friends or whomever you have in that vehicle. Please utilize the seatbelt.
Acting Commissioner Designee Julia Sheen also talked about the second part of the conference here about another person with swine flu in the territory.
The Department of Health on Thursday received confirmation of a second St. Thomas resident testing positive for the H1N1 influenza A virus. The patient, a male teenager, was seen by a private physician following complaints of flu-like symptoms. He and members of his family have been treated with Tamiflu and are on isolation. In the initial H1N1 case, the victim was an adult female who contracted the virus after travel off island and has since recovered. As you know, the World Health Organization raised the level of pandemic to 6 last week. This was done not because of the increased cases in the United States and its territories, but because of the global outbreak or confirmed cases in various parts of the world.
In St. Thomas at the Charlotte Kilman Cancer Center for a press briefing with the police chief and also the Commissioner Designee Julia Sheen. Lee Carl for News Channel 8.
Stay with us on News Channel 8. We have more news after the break.